Yeah. So, but what I did tell, me and Barry were having a conversation one time. I was telling, listen, man, you know, uh, the organization by its very nature is criminal. Okay. But you've got to have a deeper adhesive, a glue that holds people together, right? Holds organizations together. So whether it's, race, whether it's culture, whether it's religion, whether it's whatever it is, right? You've got to have something that runs deeper than just like superficial criminal activity. Because if all there is like the criminal activity stuff, that goes good, for a while and all that, but that doesn't really run that deep, man. And you're gonna have people fucking rolling over. If you've got something deeper that they believe in, that they're that their minds, their hearts, their souls are attached to, like race or religion or deeper cultural aspects and all that. So that transcends even organizations. So then when you bring that into an organization too, it makes the organization a lot stronger. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the old days, back in the old days with the Italians. Back then, you had to be an Italian to get made with, by them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You had to be an Italian, man. And you could be a good guy. You could be all that. You could be trusted. You could do business with them and all. But you could never get on the inside of that set unless you were an Italian. So that's that's a deeper glue that holds all that together. And then they had all their stuff that went with it. All their criminal stuff, their organized crime stuff, and it was a way of life. It was a cultural thing. And omerta, silence, talking, this and that. That's just how it was, man. And it was all compartmentalized, and you'd have to really get up all the way up in there and all the way where it's really going on. You would have to be not only an Italian, you'd have to be accepted into the inner circles with that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and it's that type of stuff that keeps it strong, keeps something really strong. When they started getting away from that stuff, like say Gotti, when Gotti started getting away from that stuff, and then they start breaking rules, and they start breaking rules like with the drug game. When Paulie Castellano, when he was running the Gambino family, he says no drugs, man. We aren't going to get involved in drugs. We aren't going to, because it's a dirty business. Too much heat. They're going to come down. It's easy to roll people up on narcotics conspiracies, distribution, trafficking, sales, just all that. You know what I mean? It's easy to get people on conspiracy beefs like that. So, but there's the attraction to it. There's so much money to be made, and fast money and big money, that everybody on the street level was involved in a drug game. So now they're in violation. And like Paulie said, he said, listen, man, if anybody gets cracked, going against the fucking rules, when we say there's nobody getting involved in the drug shit, and if you do, there's going to be some fucking problems. So you're going to get whacked. That's what's going to happen. So everybody was involved with that shit. And that's why there was an indictment coming down. It was a sealed indictment. And their connections on the inside of the police force up there in New York told them, hey, these indictments are being unsealed. It's all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of drug activity in there, and Paulie's fucking getting indicted too. Well, everybody knew once it was going like that, once that indictment got unsealed, motherfuckers were going to start getting whacked. So that's why John and fucking Sammy and them, they had to fucking clip fucking Paulie first. That's just how it is. Somebody's going down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and once you start breaking the rules, then the organization's already breaking down. And that's what I was saying before, like with Barry. Uh, Once he started making decisions, and he wasn't touching base with the commissions, he wasn't. He was saying things about people that, smutting them down where it wasn't necessarily true. He had some ulterior motives, some other shit going on. Once it starts getting like that, the organization's already breaking down. That's just how it is. Like he went and told a DC black dude who he didn't know was a friend of mine. I mean, this guy's cool. This dude went and stabbed up a fucking Puerto Rican one time. Looked like the Puerto Rican was going to go tell. So I went and cut into the Puerto Rican, talked him off the ledge, got everything straight, and kept this dude from getting a case, right? Now he's going to go to the shoe for it, but he's not going to get a street case. Anyhow, Barry went to this dude because me and Barry, we got these issues because of what he was doing. And he just didn't like the fact that I had went to all the rest of the fellas, told him, listen, this is what he's doing. This shit ain't no good. It ain't gonna fly. And so he went and told the DC black dude. He says, yeah. He says John was the one that pulled the trigger on Lewisburg, and made that happen, and got all them blacks killed and stabbed up and all that. And John did that, and he didn't have the authority to do that. But see, none of that's true. None of it's true. And this black dude he told it to came right to me. He said, man, this is what Barry's saying, blah, blah, blah. And then when you've seen the shit come out later, like Nat Geo and all that, where you're starting to get little glimpses there, nowhere am I mentioned anywhere even in there in connection with Lewisburg. Because I didn't do it. I didn't have nothing to do with that. But once you start doing that, once a guy starts making little moves like that, man, he's already, the organization is degrading, and he's already broke away from it. Now somehow he's not serving the organization. He's serving his own little interests, however he's doing it, whatever he's doing it for, but he's not part of an organization. He's not part of a brotherhood no more. So, so anyhow.
Yeah.
That's what happens. That's what happens with that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just breaks down when the leadership starts to fracture and break down. So it makes sense. Since we were talking about the mob, man, did you guys have ever, when Gotti went to Marion or wherever he went, did you run into him and have dealings with him?
Yeah, I knew John.
What was it? Was he really rambunctious and?
Well, here's the thing. You got to remember this. John was a good guy. John came up from the streets. He grew up in the streets. He was a street soldier, and he was a captain, and he was all that. He was solid. He was a good guy. He was doing certain things that I guess some of them didn't like. The Teflon Don and all that stuff. And he was out there really flamboyant, which they didn't like. They liked stuff lower down and lower key and all that, right? But he was, he was a gangster, man, and he was with it, and he lived by those codes, those rules. That's how he did that. We had a thing called the Inner Circle, and the Inner Circle was a bunch of different organizations. It was the AB, it was the ME, it was the Italians, it was blacks, it was different black crews, the heads of them. And it was the Inner Circle, and what happened was we ran things to keep bullshit down. Keep the bullshit strife down, racial shit down, all that, keep that shit down. So you always had people that were, they ran certain sets, and, they would keep the bullshit down. And then you do business, man. If we can help you, we help you, you can help us, you help us. We go into your neighborhood, you're in ours, we do this, that. Like with Gotti, them guys were running unions out of New York, so it gave us access to a lot of legitimate business through unions and different stuff that was going on there. People wanted to, like, set up labs and stuff and be cooking meth and shit like that. So It would give them access to glassware, chemicals, and all that through legitimate businesses, right? So, and that's what I was saying before when you asked me a question the other day about like the ABTs. And when I first run into Mike McCarthy at Marion, and he's flying the flag, the AB flag, and people are feeling, no, you can't do it. But my position is different than that. My position is, you aren't us, and we're not you, but you're white men. You're in your spot, your neighborhoods, your pens, flying that flag, and there's a difference between your flag and our flag, but it's still close. And my thing is I'm into forming alliances, man, doing business and alliances, and growing and making good connections, stuff like that. So that was also what was going on with like the Italians and stuff with Gotti and Nicky Scarfo. Nicky was a good friend of mine. So stuff like that, right? You start, if you do good business leads to good friendships and good relationships. And through good connections and friendships and relationships, that turns into good relationships between organizations. And you start, doing business across organizational lines and stuff. So that's how that works, right?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. The inner circle.
Yeah, the inner circle, the IC, yeah.
So, like, when shit would go down, say like the war with the DC Blacks, right? Who was it that met in the inner circle? Was it you, the commission, or just one dude from each faction?
Well, it's the commission. Me, Barry, TD would be there, but TD was kind of off in Leavenworth at the time, stuff like that. But it's us, and then with the emissions, it was like Champ, and Bruisers, guys like that. And then some of the blacks, there was a Crip named out of South Central. He was representing their interests. Then there was a dude out of Chicago, the El Rukins, that's Malik. We would do business. And they're radical black Muslims. And like Malik and them, they were with like Gaddafi and all that. But on the side, we do business. We're never going to be exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way. But there's you establish good relationships, and especially in penitentiaries, man. And you start running the penitentiaries, and you keep bullshit down, static down. You regulate them. You got to regulate penitentiaries. You have to organize. You got to regulate them because that's the only way you keep them stable. If you don't regulate it like that, shit's going to go sideways. Somebody's going to do something, and the shit's going to go sideways. So all these different organizations brought their own organizations, their own power, their own controls, and all that to the inner circle. And through that, we kept a lot of bullshit down. We did a lot of business. It's like up in Chicago, there's a lot of Jews, right? Especially in the diamond stuff and all that. So blacks basically can't get next to the Jews. When they see them coming, they think they're going to get them jacked. So what they would do, it's easier to dress a white dude up in a three-piece suit and all that to slide up into a spot because they can penetrate a spot easier, smoother, with less suspicion, right? So there's just a lot of different things. One of the guys, a black dude, one time he came to me, he wanted to, he was talking about like a National Guard armories. They want to take the armories out because they want weapons. And there used to be a thing where the armories used to get taken off anyhow, the infantry stuff, by different crews. And then, weapons are weapons, but some of the weapons would go north up into Canada and then across the Atlantic to the IRA. Because the IRA, they're banging with fucking the SAS, they're banging with the Brits, right? So, and then at that time, they would be bringing drugs across up into Canada on the eastern seaboard. There, they'd be bringing Turkish heroin, Turkish hash, stuff like this, and they'd be dropping out and picking up weapons and going back across back to Ireland, back to Europe, stuff like that. Some of the biggest traffickers for a while in Europe was the IRA. So, smugglers moving a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, the thing is it's just, man, it's business. That's what it is. It's all business. You know what I mean?
It makes sense. And the how is it dealing with radical Muslims who hate whites though? Was it like sometimes tension, or was it respectful at all times?
Well, it's respectful because you have to keep it respectful. That's what we were talking about the other day, where you're talking about the NF and the ME getting together, and then the NF was kind of under the ME and stuff like that. See, you can't start putting somebody under you. You got to have respect. You got to deal straight across the board, common courtesy and respect, and all your dealings are respectful. You got to do it that way. If you don't do it that way, you're going to create problems. It's just a matter of time before there's some fucking static, and next thing you know, you got another fucking war going again. And so, but naturally, in worlds like that, there's a lot of different things you're doing. Sometimes shit is just smooth and it's cool, and you're doing business and making money and stuff like that, which is the best way. I mean, it's all about keeping stuff really smooth, copacetic, keeping all the drama down, bullshit down, because drama and bullshit is bad for business, especially inside prison systems. I told them that one time they came over from Europe, from the German-speaking nations. They wanted to talk to me, because they're banging over there in Germany and them spots over there with Russians and North Africans and Turks and all them other ones. They got turf wars and all this other shit going on, and basically the same thing we went through over here, right? So I don't listen at a certain point. I mean, you can only have so many bodies floating around inside a prison before there's too much heat. The warden starts getting too much heat from people's families or cops or governors or whatever. And they're saying, man, what the fuck's going on up in there? So it's bad for business. Just fucking running amok, man, is bad for business. So the thing is I don't listen at a certain point. People are going to sit down unless you got interlopers outsiders coming in, trying to take your neighborhoods and stuff like that over. You can't let that happen. You know what I mean? So, but the bottom line is, especially up inside jailhouses, or if people are, say the Turks, say they're bringing some of the fucking hash.
You have 1 minute left.
The heroines or whatever. And if people are, say, in Germany, they want those products, then they start doing business. And you still control your environments, control your your turf. But the thing is you start doing business. That's how it works. Everybody makes money. Everybody, you regulate shit, you control stuff. That's how that works.
Yep.
That's what I was told too. That's how that goes down over there, right? At some point they're going to start doing business.